Now, the question of can you homeschool my kids is one that I always find it a bit hard to know how to answer the question. In some ways, I feel like maybe the parent doesn't really understand the question, and maybe it's more about the definition of what homeschooling actually is that might need a bit of elaborating, or maybe it's a school in homeschool that they get confused with, or maybe they're asking for a tutor. So I have to always ask the parent to kind of clarify what is it that they mean when they ask if I can homeschool their kids. So in this video, I'll be trying to answer the question the best I can to give you an answer about whether I personally will be able to homeschool your kids, or whether you personally will be able to get other people to help you with your home education. So stay with me. If you like my content, please like and subscribe, and leave a question or a comment down below. I really love dialoguing with people. I really love when people watch my videos and they let me know that they're watching it. And thank you so much for all those people that have subscribed to my channel over recent days as well. Okay, so elective home education is a type of education used to describe a parent who has chosen to educate their children at home or in some other way other than at school. Home educated parents take on full responsibility for their child's education, and the child is no longer under the books as they would be if they were in school. The parent is the one who's responsible for making sure that their child receives a good education at home or wherever it is they're home educating their child. The parent is the one who has full responsibility for their child. So in terms of me home educating your child, I wouldn't be able to take on full responsibility for your child regardless, because I'm not their registered parent. I'm not the one with parental responsibility. Okay, so home educations are not required to follow one particular approach. Whether that means, like, that could be things like the national curriculum. A home educator is not required to follow the national curriculum. They're not required to follow one approach where people might think, okay, it's 9 o'clock the child should be learning and it's 3 o'clock the child's learning should end. They're not required to follow any of those approaches. So because of that, you as a parent could hire somebody like me to help with the education of your child, as I do tuition as well. Go to 1.4 Teacher if you want more information about local tuition. Go to 1.3 Family to find out more about my academy, where I provide online services as well. Let's get a bit technical now. Okay, so what does the law say? Section 7 of the Educational Act 1996 says, the parent of every child of compulsory school age shall cause him to receive efficient full-time education suitable to A, to his age, ability and aptitude, and B, to any special educational needs he may have, either by regular attendance at school or otherwise. So every parent of compulsory school age has that responsibility, but the otherwise than school is what refers to home educators, basically. Bear in mind that there's no legal definition for the terms efficient, full-time and suitable. So in terms of having an efficient education, a full-time education and a suitable education, you've got to work out what that means. And the local authority will also have their idea of what that means, and sometimes you have to kind of argue your case. Some people might think of full-time in the same way that it would be for children that attend school. So a child who attends school will be at school 5 days a week, from Monday to Friday. They'll be at school for 190 days in a year, and they'll be at school for 38 weeks in a year as well. So people might look at a full-time education the same way. Yes, with most home educators like myself, that the care and the time that I'm with my children is continuous. I'm with them from the minute they wake up in the morning to the minute they go to bed at night. So some of the hours that I might do dedicated study with them, maybe outside of normal school hours. Home educators do not have to mirror the same time, and actually most home educators spend far more time with their children than the child would do at school, if that makes sense. Let's go over the legal requirements again. There's no legal requirement for you as a parent educating a child at home to do any of the following. Acquire specific qualifications for the task. You don't have to go on a course to home educate your children. Have premises equipped for any particular standard. You don't have to have premises like a schoolroom. You don't have to have that for your child. You do not have to teach a national curriculum. You do not have to provide a broad and balanced curriculum. You do not have, because that's like unschoolers, they might do it in a different way. They probably say it's broad and balanced anyway, but it's just in a different way, you know. You do not have to make detailed lesson plans in advance. You do not have to give formal lessons. You do not have to mark any work done by your child. You don't have to formally assess your child's progress or set developmental objectives. You do not have to reproduce school inside your home, match school-based age-specific targets. Home educators are not required to have a timetable. Set hours during the day which education will take place. They do not have to observe school hours, days or terms. So although a parent does not necessarily follow the same school method in terms of home educating their children, they still have to be able to demonstrate and quantify how their child is receiving a full-time education, just through discussion and things like that. I'm not sure how it works under your local authority, but under my local authority, they write a letter to me once a year to ask if my kids are still being home educated. I just say yes, and that's the end of it. In the earlier days of me doing this, they wanted to visit me a few times, and many people would not really visit them, but I just felt like I wanted to kind of show off and let them know how great my kids were doing in terms of the activities they were doing and things like that. So I was quite happy to talk to them, not come in my house though. I never made them come in my house. I felt like, why should they come in my house? So I'd meet them in the library or park or whatever, and they get to talk to the kids. I was happy for them to talk to my children because I had nothing to hide. But at the same time, I know that you don't have to, and not some people would not like to do that at all. You know, each to their own, eh? Sometimes you may actually, as a home educator, have to argue your case to the local authority to show them that your child is actually receiving an education. Because everyone has an idea of what education looks like, and also the national curriculum in the UK, that's the sort of method that everyone's quite familiar with. So whether you're an unschooler or a homeschooler, sometimes my video cut off there. But for example, if you're a home educator and you got a knock at your door and someone just knocked on your door and said, "Hi, I've heard that your children are being home educated. Can I come inside and check that they're safe?" That's a little bit rude, personally. I find that a little bit rude. It really annoys me because I feel like if you're not going to do that to a parent of a child who attends school, then you have no business doing that to a parent just because they homeschool their children. The child might be at school Monday to Friday during term time with a parent who goes to work all day, and then that child will still be home with that same parent from 3 o'clock to 10 o'clock. So why would they not get knocks on their door randomly because the child's at home between 3 and 10? Why is it that they're not seen as criminals between the hours of 3 and 10? But just because a home educator has their children during their school hours, they might be treated like a criminal. And it might sound a bit weird me saying this, but there are many parents out there that have been under a situation where just because their kids are home educated, they'll be treated like they're harming the children, and that's not fair. The only people that should be treated like that are those who are harming children or there's evidence for something like that. But I'll save that for another video. It just really annoys me, sorry, but like I said, I'll save that for another video. Because education looks different, because especially with home educators, education's happening all the time. It's like a lifestyle, basically. I've been in situations like this as well, where I've had to actually argue my case to show that my children have been educated. I found it easier once I had a box curriculum, because all I needed to really do was send them on to the people that we're under in terms of memberships and things like that, and they could just kind of go to them, look on the website, find out what they do, and it would kind of help us. But when I was doing a bit more like unit study approach and doing things my own way, they kind of kept probing me a little bit more to find out more. I will talk to you about that in another video, about the fact that you don't have to let anybody in your house if they want to come into your house to see how your children are. Okay, so back to the original question of this video. Can you homeschool my kids? Right, now this is a question that I get asked a lot. The answer is no, I cannot homeschool your children. So I personally, as Sophia Morrison, would not be able to homeschool your child, but I can tutor your child. So take that a little bit further, you as a parent, you can choose to put your children in clubs and groups and things like that, and they can go to other tutors and different activities throughout the week. I know many home educators who their children are not taught by their parents much at home at all. The child lives at home with their parent, but the child will have a timetable where they may go to a tutor for maths, another one for science. And that's nothing wrong with that at all. If I had the money, there'd probably be many more tutors coming here to help them with things that they find harder. But I tend to do a lot of it myself, and I chose to have a boxing curriculum myself. So yeah, there's no harm in you allowing other people to do the things that you don't know how to do yourself, or haven't got the time to do yourself, or just feel like you want your child to have a different tutor for. Think about the Queen of England. She was home educated, so she had lots of tutors coming into her palace even, and they would come and tutor her the many different things that she wanted. So the Queen never went to school, but she was home educated using lots of tutors and things like that. So I hope that answers your question. I hope that helps. And anybody that asks me again if I can homeschool their kids, I'll probably just send them to this video. But I'd love to. I'd love to maybe run a school one day and look after more kids and teach more children. My aim is to one day go back to the classroom. I'm just not sure. I'm kind of just waiting on the Lord, seeing where He leads me in the end and taking it day by day. Alright, so if you're liking my content, please give a thumbs up and like and subscribe if you would like further content from me, and leave a comment down below or leave a question down below. I'll be happy to answer them for you. But yeah, I hope that helps. I shall speak to you soon. Bye bye.